swear to affirm the testimony in this case is true, whole, and conduct what the truth says about it. Please be seated.
May I proceed? Thank you. Good morning, Representative Greene. I'm Andy Shelley. I represent the plaintiffs in this matter. Ms. Greene, you were elected to Congress in November of 2020, right?
Yes.
And you became a member of Congress on January 3rd, 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you became a member of Congress, you became a member of Congress by virtue of having taken an oath of office.
5 U.S. Code 3331, oath of office.
I became a member of Congress by being elected by the people of the 14th district.
Okay, but you actually were permitted to take your seat in the House of Representatives because you took an oath of office.
An individual except the president elected or appointed to an office of honor or profit in the civil service or uniformed service shall take the following oath. I, A.B., do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that oath required you to swear that you would support and defend the Constitution of the United States, right? And it required you to swear an oath that you would support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, right?
Yes.
And part of the oath that you took says that you were going to undertake that obligation to defend the Constitution against all enemies freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. Do you recall that part? 63. This is a federal statute, 5 U.S.C. 3331, which sets forth the oath of office for federal officers, including members of Congress. And as well as if you could make that a little bit bigger, I want to make sure the representative can see it. The highlighted portion, please. So if you see about a third of the way, 2/3 of the way down, it says that I will take this obligation. I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. See that? And you now recall that was part of the oath, right?
Yes.
And what did that mean to you, Congresswoman Greene?
About taking it freely without reservation?
Yes.
It means I'm swearing the oath and I have no reservation.
Great. Now, one part of the Constitution, Representative Greene, is the 12th Amendment, right?
Yes.
You're familiar with the 12th Amendment?
Yes.
That's the one that provides for the constitutional process for counting electoral votes in a presidential election, right?
Then comes the 12th Amendment. It explains what we're doing here today in the Capitol. It explains that the President of the Senate, the Vice President of the United States, shall open the ballots and the votes shall then be counted. It's those words that confine, define, and constrain every scrap of authority that we have in this process. Our job is to open and then count. Open, then count. That's it. That's
this is
all
a case
there
about
is.
Representative Greene's state of mind, including her understanding of the oath and the Constitution.
Then I further object, because this case is not about her state of mind, is whether or not she engaged in insurrection or rebellion, engaged in those conduct, and is the same. Next question.
Your state of mind is a direct reflection of your actions. Your actions are a reflection of your thinking. This is basic common sense, basic human logic. For him to object to that, be able to object to that, and for the judge to sustain that, that shows you the judge is sympathetic to Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Ms. Greene, if somebody tried to unlawfully interfere with the process of counting the electoral votes, unlawfully, that person would be an enemy of the Constitution. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay, guys. Apparently, this tip of the spear has entered the Capitol building.
The United States Senate will not be intimidated. We will not be kept out of this chamber by thugs, mobs,
Hey, brother, we're boots
or
on the
threats.
ground here. We're moving on to Capitol now. I'll
We
give
will
you a
not
boots on the
bow
ground update here.
to lawlessness or intimidation. We are back at our post. We will discharge our duty under the Constitution and for our nation. And we're going to do it tonight. This afternoon, Congress began the process of honoring the will of the American people and counting the Electoral College votes. We've fulfilled this solemn duty every 4 years for more than 2 centuries. Whether our nation's been at war or at peace, under all manner of threats, even during an ongoing armed rebellion and the Civil War, the clockwork of our democracy has carried on.
Does it define that way? Is it defined that way?
Well, I'm asking for your understanding. If somebody broke the law in a way designed to interfere with the process of counting the Electoral College votes, that person would be an enemy of the Constitution.
The first thing that should disqualify her from office is the fact that she doesn't even know her oath of
They
office.
tried to disrupt our democracy. They failed. They failed. They failed to attempt to obstruct the Congress. This failed insurrection only underscores how crucial the task before us is for our republic.
You mean interrupting Congress? Is that what you're referring to?
Doing anything unlawfully to interfere with the process of counting the electoral votes.
Interrupting Congress, like when the Democrats interrupted Congress and had a sit-in on the House floor and stopped Congress.
Excuse me. Refresh the question.
Can we see Plaintiff's Exhibit 2C, please, Ms. Wells?
So we're on 2C.
2C. Ms. Greene, this is the tweet that we talked about a little bit earlier. Just a quick question on it. You issued this on December 19th, 2020, correct?
I can't see real well, but I think that's the date.
Maybe we can make it a little larger.
That's what it says.
And what you were doing in this tweet was you were tweeting out a story from the Epoch Times about President Trump saying that the protests that were planned for January 6th were going to be, quote, wild, right?
I object. We don't have where is the article?
Right there under the picture of President Trump.
Does it quote that?
Yes, it says Trump, supporters should join wild protest in D.C. on Jan 6th.
Okay, I was wrong by objecting. I can't see that. I can't.
Could you make it a little larger, Ms. Wells? You can answer the question, Representative Greene.
What was your question?
My question is, what you were doing in this tweet is you were tweeting out a story from the Epoch Times about President Trump making a statement that the protests on January 6th would be wild, right?
I tweeted an article that had the details of the dates and times.
Right, and also included President Trump's statements that he expected the demonstrations on January 6th to be wild, right?
I think that's what my tweet is about.
Okay, well, but you see that the article says Trump, supporters should join, quote, wild protests in D.C. on Jan 6th.
I don't remember tweeting that specifically for what you're saying. Those are your words.
No,
Those aren't mine.
I'm actually reading from what's on the...
You're speculating on why I tweeted that, but I don't remember tweeting it for that specific reason.
Ms. Greene, I'm just asking questions.
I'm just answering.
And in your tweet, you mentioned earlier that your words, join hashtag March for Trump in D.C. January 6th, fight for Trump, that you were urging people to come to Washington for a peaceful demonstration, right?
Peaceful demonstration,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, that word peaceful is nowhere in this tweet, right?
1349 hours declaring it a riot.
Have a look. That word peaceful is not in this
Read
tweet.
it. There's only half of it there.
Let's give the representative a paper copy of that. Make sure I'm
No,
not
I can
missing.
see it now. Let me scroll up just a second.
Okay, peaceful's not in there, is it?
Well, you know, like,
Is the word peaceful in there, Miss Greene?
it does not say peaceful
That's
right
my
there.
question.
But
Thank you.
you're asking.
The fuck?
Take your pins off.
Early on, the plaintiff's attorney established Marjorie Taylor Greene violated her oath of office, which requires you to take this position without reservation for upholding the Constitution. She took this oath January 3rd. December 19th, 2019, she posted her reservation to uphold the 12th Amendment by promoting and recruiting rioters to appear at the January 6th rally in order to prevent the counting of the Electoral College votes. The 12th Amendment makes it clear what is Congress' responsibility when it comes to certifying the Electoral College votes. The issue is democracy no longer works for white people. Law and order, logic, common sense, none of these things applies in America today. She will not be held accountable for her actions because there is no accountability for white supremacies. Blacks must prepare for the end of democracy, 2024, 997 days.